about cheers. The rap of cigars hangs thick in the air. Cigar Month, the host with most, welcoming my guest. A legendary face with stories to spare. A thousand men that bring tales untold. In the smoky haze, connections unfold. With a puff of smoke, a bond is made. No time to waste, let the memories cascade. Making connections, sharing life's sweet grind. From childhood whispers to dreams intertwined. A conversation flows, a soulful dance. In this cozy spot, we take a chance. From cigars to cognac.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of A Puff a Minute Cigars and Conversations. I'm your guy, Cigar Mick, and today I have the distinct pleasure of sitting here with my man Mike. Is it
Pickholz.
Pickholz. Michael Pickholz. All right, from Vicente Blends Cigars. But you guys out there, you probably already know him as the ball guy. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing, man. We just left TPE 2025. I was able to have the pleasure of meeting them on the floor, getting to know a little bit of the story, and we wanted to share that with you guys this evening, all right? Michael, how's it going today, bro?
Going great. Thanks for having me in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, we're at Tap and Ash in Vegas. I
Absolutely.
know that's your home place, and it's part of the reason we ended up coming together is after we met.
Yeah.
Melvin was actually before, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, before Vince ever decided to even turn this into a retail brand, and before I was even involved,
yes.
And I was just friends with him, was the idea of like a tech company, beta testing it out with, some good locations and good friends and getting their feedback. And
absolutely.
And actually, Melvin and the Tap and Ash crew here at the lounge were one of those first five that they ever put these cigars in. So,
all right.
We'll come anytime.
Tell them the cigar. So, okay, we are today, man, we're talking about the Vicente Blends Cigar Company, all right? And I'm smoking one of their exclusive ones that only goes out to your lounges, your brick and mortars, right? So tell me a little bit about this one that I have right here.
Sure. So that's our Vicentari.
Okay.
And right now we have we call it the collection of cigars. We have 5 distinct cigars. Each of our cigars only come in a single size, one blend. We don't make, Robustos, Lanceros, Coronas of all the same cigars.
Got you.
Part of that, as a big misconception in the industry, is if a cigar is a different size, it's a different cigar,
right?
And it's a different blend.
Yeah.
You can blend it close, but that cigar, if it was a Robusto, is not the same as that cigar.
It's going to smoke differently.
So we have 5 cigars right now in the collection.
Okay.
We can show those later. I'm smoking the War.
The War.
And
nice.
Out of those 5, the Vicentari, that's our brick and mortar exclusive.
I love it.
We're big believers. Everybody nowadays travels all over. We go to lounges, shops. Everybody buys online, and it's great.
Yeah.
Can't deny it. We live in the internet world, but at the same time, I think often people forget that we don't buy a cigar and use it in our kitchen like we order someone on Amazon. We all love cigars because it's the camaraderie, it's the social scene, it's the enjoyment.
Yes.
Well, if you don't support your local brick and mortar,
come on,
you got nowhere to learn about something new.
Absolutely.
You don't have experts. You got nowhere to sit with your friends and your family and enjoy it.
Exactly.
So that cigar, as of right now, that's our exclusive. You can only buy it from our partners in their shops and cannot sell it online.
I love it.
And I would guarantee that, because what I'll say is if anybody comes to me and tells me that they can find it online,
yes,
I'll show you a retailer that won't be carrying Vicente Blends.
I love it. I love it.
So that's how we support our retailers.
That really taps in with our whole philosophy here at the Puff a Minute as well, right? So we say the best part of smoking a cigar are the conversations that you have while you're doing so. And what better place to do that than a place like Tap and Ash, So again, this is the home lounge. This is where we love to come and hang out, right? And now to smoke this Vicentari.
You got it.
Am I saying it correctly? I got to work on my Latin, people. You know what I'm saying? So it's the Vicentari. But it's a beautiful cigar, and you guys have a manufacturing process that's unlike anybody else in the industry, right? And it's demonstrated. Like, I wish you guys were smoking with me right now, because the draw on this is incredible. And what I mean by that is there is literally no work in drawing on this cigar, right? You don't have to pull hard. You don't have it. Just literally blesses you with a mouthful of smoke with the minimum effort. So again, and it's a wonderful cigar. But talk about that process a little bit. How did you guys perfect the draw on these?
Sure, and that I think is what distinguishes us and is our key feature, in addition to kind of the look and everything of what we do.
Yeah.
And look, I give my partner Vince credit.
Okay.
Vince McGlone is the original creator of the cigars. He's the founder. And he never set out to create a new cigar brand.
Got you.
Like all of us, he was a cigar guy, loved cigars for years. He's a engineer from the tech industry. He was setting up a business in the Dominican. Pure passion. Decided he wanted to learn everything he could, and it's one of the ways he and I became friends. Was over our common feeling that a cigar is an experience. And it's about getting that smoke. It's about experiencing it.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't matter whether it's a $10 cigar, and certainly if it's a cigar at our level and above, you should never have to work a cigar.
Yeah.
And you certainly should never be plugged. And yet we've all experienced it.
Absolutely.
Right? And what you get is you get a shrug. It's like, well, that's the way it's been done. And, our feeling, and Vince's when he did it, was, no, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Right. We're guys. My background's venture capital, banking, growth companies. He's a tech guy, and that's kind of the way we think. Which is, no, you don't accept it. You figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, it is.
And so Vince spent a lot of time, probably a good year, just doing nothing but deconstructing and reconstructing cigars and ways to roll them.
Okay.
And he'll fully admit he wasn't focused on the blends at the time, so they tasted horrible.
Okay.
But they smoked great.
Yeah.
And kind of came up with our own proprietary process. And that's one of the things that goes into when people say, well, why is your cigar what it is? Why do people call it a, luxury, premium, whatever cigar? I don't call it that. I just call it a great cigar. We let others do it, but people look at it and say, goes into that. And the reason is because the way that we design the rolling of the cigar, an average cigar, a pair of rollers can do about 300 to 500 in a day.
Okay. Yeah.
Our rollers cannot do more than 100, 125 in a day.
Wow. Okay.
It's just because they're not taking that filler bunch, bunching it together and rolling it. There's a very specific way they have to put it together. It only takes a couple seconds.
Yeah.
But if you multiply that by a few hundred, you suddenly go way down. And in a way, it's one of the tests we do.
Okay.
It's interesting. Everybody's seen the air draw testers they use in factories, and I laugh because what are they doing? Testing one out of every couple hundred cigars? Right. At the end of the day, otherwise all our cigars have holes in them.
Yeah.
We don't actually have one.
Really?
We don't need it.
Okay.
We can tell based on the structure of our cigars, and if our rollers are rolling between 100 and 125 a day, we generally know they're using the technique, and then we press them. It's one of the secrets we will give away. Most cigars are pressed a certain number of hours. All of ours are pressed at least 24 hours.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just, the way we do it won't hold. You won't get the draw.
Yeah.
And then we take that out. We can, between knowing that number, weighing that cigar, and the ring. The ring isn't just for pretty sake.
We're going to talk about these rings.
But we'll talk about, we can talk about the aesthetics.
Exactly.
But it's actually functional.
Yeah.
Because unlike most cigars, there's no flexibility in that band. If we're within, we have to be within 0.15 millimeters.
Okay.
If it's too thin, that cigar will slide. That ring will slide off.
Slide right off.
If it's too wide, it'll crack the cigar.
Yes.
So we know if we put those three factors together, with the third one being then that ring fits. When that cigar is done being pressed and we go to put it in the aging room, that cigar is going to have our draw every time.
I love it. I love it.
There may be little other things, but that cigar will have perfect things. So there actually is a method to our madness.
I love it. That's awesome.
In doing it, yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So again, that's just incredible. Let me ask you this then. So the process is proprietary, right? You've got these rollers in the factory that are adherent to your process. How do you protect that, right? That how do you protect that that knowledge, man, from getting out and other people
Well, the truth is, it's not. This isn't patented rocket science.
Okay.
Right. So, ultimately, can you do something like that? No. One of the things that we do is we don't actually disclose where we roll and what we do.
Okay.
Interesting thing, and people, as you know, in the industry, you have all shapes and sizes, right?
Right.
You got small companies that own their factories. You got big companies, giant name brands that contract out.
Yeah.
We actually run our whole process.
Really? Okay.
So, Vince is in the DR most of the time. We've got a oversight manager if he's not there. We oversee our rollers. We work with somebody on that, and they support us. But we have our own aging rooms, our own offices, our own everything.
Sure.
We even then ship to the U.S. Right now, we don't even use a distributor.
Really? Okay.
So we have our own people in Pennsylvania, King of Prussia, right outside Philly. And those guys, when our cigars come totally raw and unbanded, naked.
Right.
And we don't box age.
Really?
They get those, they take them out, they put them right into our aging facility here, and those cigars continue to age as if they're sitting in the aging room in the DR. Literally up until, for example, Melvin calls us up and places an order and says, I need this.
Yeah.
And our guys take those out of the aging room, and that's the first time they put a ring on it. They put it in our boxes, and they send it to him.
Wow.
So, people that know this concept of box aging,
Yeah.
the maximum our cigar will ever be box aged is probably, in the United States, 2 to 3 days.
Really?
Because that's what it takes to go from our aging room to our partner's humidor, where it's open and sitting in the humidor again.
Okay.
So that cigar is only box aging for the time it takes to ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. I think I was getting around to like the intellectual property with the rollers themselves, though, right? So if somebody were to leave, your factory and go somewhere else, how do you protect from them not taking that, this proprietary process, and showing someone else, well, this is how we did it on my last job?
The answer, like I said, the answer to little things like that is you can't protect everything.
Okay.
Right. So theoretically, could we have somebody that we've trained as a roller and they pick up and say, hey, we'll go and do this somewhere else? Of course.
Okay.
But there's all different factors that go into a VB
There's more
cigar.
to it than just that.
So, for example,
sets you apart.
They can do that, but they don't know what our blends are or why we do certain things in our blends.
Exactly.
They just have the leaves and they know how to roll it.
Got you.
So it's compartmentalized.
Right.
They don't know, for example, how long we're pressing it and why, for certain reasons.
Okay.
Then, of course, once we take our cigars, and I won't get into certain things we do with them in terms of aging them and drying them and adjusting for expansion and all those kind of things.
Sure.
In terms of doing it, those people don't know.
Gotcha.
So just because I could take you down and sit you in a room and roll one of our cigars.
Yeah.
And 6 months, a year from now, when that cigar is ready to be smoked, it's not going to be the same.
It won't be the same. Exactly.
So there's a lot of different pieces.
Yeah.
So can you protect any one of them? Maybe, maybe not. But you put all those things together. The other reason, that's also why we're a little more protective of it right now.
Sure.
Because it's just like any other product. It's like a piece of clothing or something like that, right? You're around long enough, somebody's going to create a copy.
Got you. Yeah.
But everybody's going to know it's not a VB.
But it won't be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
It won't be the same.
Yeah.
It won't be a VB, and everybody will know it.
I agree.
And that's something, I've been smoking cigars for almost 40 years now.
Wow.
And there's nothing like a VB.
I love it.
I'm not saying VB is, there's no other good cigars, because everybody's got their special things.
Sure.
But a VB is distinct. When you smoke a VB, you're not smoking anything else out there. And if you appreciate the subtle blends, the flavors you get from not having to pull hard on a hot cigar, the ease of draw, things like that, you'll love it.
So let's talk about that, because you just said something that really, really resonated with me, right? keeping the cigar cool, right? Because the more you pull on it, right, like you just said, the hotter the cigar gets, that actually changes the profile, right? It changes the flavor of the cigar, you know, in the end, right? If you're that's the reason behind the concept of a puff a minute, right? We try to educate people, say, hey, if you're smoking more than on average a puff a minute, you're probably over smoking. You're getting that cigar too hot. You're not going to have as great an experience as you would have if you let that thing burn cool, right? So again, and when you just said that, it makes a lot of sense. By opening up the drawer, right, is also keeping the tobacco a lot cooler so that the cigar is much, much more enjoyable.
Right, and you know, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And both those things come into it, and you know, to some extent, the puff a minute is it's rule of thumb.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
We all have rule of thumb.
Yeah.
And listen, folks, I'm guilty of it. Good luck getting me to take a puff a minute.
Right,
it's
right.
not gonna happen. When I'm having a good cigar day,
yeah.
forget it. But you're right. It's, you know, that's the thing people forget, is that when you're dealing with anything that is flavor, so your palate,
Yes.
as well as combustion,
Uh-huh.
one of the main factors in both of those things is air.
Yes.
Right? You know, if you're, you know, wine, spirits person, most of us, their cigars are.
Yes.
Right? People don't realize, you know, you don't swish wine in your mouth
Right.
to taste it. You kind of breathe in over it. And you're
aerate
trying to, you know, you get the nodes, and it's also to figure out if you smell mold, that's how you know it was
True.
the air in it, right? It's the same concept when we retrohale, right?
Uh-huh.
To get those, but that's all airflow.
Exactly.
Right? If your nose is stuffed, you're not going to taste your cigar. It's
True.
airflow.
Exactly.
Same as every one of us has lit a fire outside in the fireplace, right?
Yes, exactly.
You put a whole bunch of logs, you slam on, doesn't matter if they're the best logs in the world, and you try to light it, and you say, why can't I get anything out of this?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
On the other side, if you take tons of newspaper and kindling and other things on it,
Yeah.
and that thing's going to go up, you know, like it's on fire.
Yeah.
On the other side, if you got big logs and you get a fire going, and it's not dried, and it's very thick and everything's stuck together,
Yeah.
right? What do? You get a lot of heat, you get those red cinders.
Yeah.
You don't get that good, robust smoke. It's the same when you're smoking the cigar.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting because we do, and some of our new cigars will be San Andre based, they'll kind of be medium full.
Mm-hmm.
We like to describe almost all of our cigars as medium.
Okay.
And people immediately look and say, oh, I like a medium full, or I like a strong cigar.
Right.
I say, try this first. And then they smoke it, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, that's great. So like we like to say is, our cigar may be medium strength, but it's full flavor.
Yes.
Because when you're getting that smooth air and you're not getting all that heat and you're getting a lot of flavor and smoke out of it, you suddenly pick up all those different flavors.
Yes.
You don't need a strong cigar to get that flavor out of it anymore. You don't need a cigar that's loaded with pepper so you feel something in your mouth, because you're going to get flavors from regular tobaccos you're used to smoking that you don't realize are in there.
Outstanding.
And, you know, that's another amazing thing that goes into it. Now, I will say I'll give Vince his credit, although I really shouldn't, because, you know, he's not going to let me live it down. But, you know, I always say, I mean, he is a mad scientist.
Right.
You know, he'll take 3 tobaccos that I'll look and I'll be like, I've smoked these same generic tobaccos in 1,000 cigars, and he'll put it together and I'll put it together and smoke it, and I'm like, what am I smoking?
Right. Right.
Like it's like a master chef. He just knows, you know, you and I make the exact same dish, and he knows put one little extra grain of salt in there, and it's a totally different thing.
I love it. That's awesome. You know, and I really look forward one day to sitting down with Vince, you know, to kind of pick his brain a little bit, man. I'm a former engineer as well, so, you know, but the process, I would say the final product, you know, is amazing. And you could say it's medium, you know, body, right, or whatever, but it's full flavor.
Right, that's it. Medium strength.
Yes.
Full flavor.
Full flavor, absolutely, absolutely. So let's look at the other blends in the box. Let's take a look.
Here, you know what? I'll do this. If you hold the microphone.
I got you.
So this is actually one of our newest products.
Okay.
We did this as a limited run over the holidays for our partners like Melvin, and it's officially going to be released for PCA this year.
Really? Okay.
And we call it our 4-course aficionado.
Nice. Nice.
Package. And again, other than your Vicentari, because that's our brick and mortar exclusive.
Yeah.
You can only buy them there.
I'm special today, guys.
What we realize is, we understand that we have very unique cigars and they're high end, and I fully appreciate people are going to smoke these like, okay, if I'm going to buy a premium box to keep in my house or put in my I want these, but I understand you want to try them first.
Right.
So we created this, and this is one of each of the collection. So see where we are camera-wise, I'll hold it up. So we've got the Palladium. This is our Dominican Puro.
Okay.
It's a Habano wrapper. Then we have the Honor, which is a U.S. Connecticut shade.
Nice.
Wrapper, and it's got a Nicaraguan binder, and it's got Dominican fillers.
Beautiful. Okay.
The War, which, well, I'd say all of them are unlike anything you would expect from the typical descriptions.
Sure.
The War, I don't know what it is. People... Everybody thinks it tastes different, but everybody goes nuts when they.
Wow. Okay.
I've not had. I get people that will tell me this one, whatever is their favorites.
Yeah.
Everybody looks at the War somehow, and it's like, what is that?
Right.
Say, I don't know.
Palate determined.
This is I think the cool black ring has a little bit to do with it.
Sure,
but, hey, we all like that. It's a Cameroon wrapper.
Okay.
It's got a Nicaraguan jalapa binder, and again, some proprietary fillers to it. And then this first one on the end, I kind of went reverse order. This is the gold standard.
Okay.
This is a Criollo Dominican Puro.
Nice.
This was actually Vince's first cigar.
Really?
After he kind of got the structure down, when he was working on his blend, again, going back to that old school, 30, 40-year-old creamy, Cuban-esque type cigar.
Nice.
So those are four, and then of course we have the Vicentari, which that one again, and putting a little mystique around it, help our guys out. It's just the Vicentari. You got to just smoke it. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
You got to smoke it. That's the only way you're going to know.
And the fun thing is, I can't tell you how many people smoked it.
Right.
People have gotten close. Everybody's got a different blend, and nobody's ever gotten exactly what the makeup is.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
wow.
It's fun.
I love it.
Yep.
So the rings on here, I mean, that alone by itself, right, is something that you want to collect, right? And you have something else going on as the Bald Man, right, known as the Ring Quest, right? So tell us a little bit about the Ring Quest.
So thank you for that beautiful lead-in. That was a great segue, I'll tell you. You're smoother than you think, even, man. And you're smooth. So exactly, we find that, and the idea to the rings, and I think you guys have some pictures. If not, I'm sure Melvin would be happy to let you film in his humidor.
Sure.
You can show the folks the boxes.
Right.
As we say, it's a luxury experience.
Absolutely.
That we're going with. So our main boxes are not regular cigar boxes.
Okay.
They're 16-layer lacquered jewelry boxes.
Wow.
All of our rings and boxes are done by a jewelry company.
Okay.
And that box is cedar lined. You can take the kind of cigar tray, like you see here between it, out when you're done.
Yeah.
And you can use that as a desktop humidor. If you want to throw a Boveda pack in it.
Sure.
Shout out to Boveda, because they've done a lot of great work with us and sponsored us.
Yes.
Or you can use it as, I use it as a men's valet on my dresser. I have my watches, cufflinks, things like that. And of course, the fun thing that we have is, we have a lot of ladies that love smoking themselves.
Yes.
But I can't tell you how many people and guys, you want to get a good cigar and smoke it and not have your wife or girlfriend complain?
Yeah.
We got you covered, because I can't tell you how many people I know where the special lady in their life looks at them and says, honey, you got to buy those. And they say, but you don't smoke. And they look and go, but I want the ring in the valet box.
Exactly.
That's kind of our calling card.
Okay.
I'll fully admit, when I first met Vince, long before I got involved with the company, and the first time he sent me a box, I didn't smoke them for a couple weeks.
Really?
Finally, we were having a conversation, and he caught me.
Did he?
Because I was, I know enough about cigars, I could kind of, get around it a little. And all of a sudden, we're talking on a Sunday morning, and he says, did you actually smoke all four of them? And I said, listen, man, I got to be honest. It's so beautiful, and you don't sell these. And, this was a couple years ago. He did them in stores. I said, how would I ever get that beautiful display again?
Yeah.
And, as refined as we are, Vince and I like to kick it back in jeans, and he likes to say he's a nice blue collar boy from Philly.
Sure.
So I'll say he used a lot more colorful language and a lot more F's involved, and basically told me to go smoke that cigar that afternoon. And
right.
I smoked it, and I joked with him, and I said, "Well, I'm almost afraid to, because I'm afraid is the cigar itself actually going to be as good as the rings." And, I smoked the first time. I called him up an hour later, and I said, "Okay, what the heck is this?"
Wow. Okay.
And that's kind of how we got started. The Ring Quest is it's kind of a fun thing. People that know me know, I kind of became an accidental cigar guy in the industry.
Okay.
With friends, and I was doing some charity things and introducing people to cigars, and I created the Bald Man, and it just kind of went viral from there.
Nice.
And I've started building out like a web portal for folks called Ring Quest, and work with people in the industry. And one of the things I look at all the time is they say, those of us in the community, we know what it's about.
Yes.
And I'm going to use another one of my cliche sayings that people hear way too much that know me, which is, we're talking about cigars, but we're not talking about cigars.
Right.
Right. We might as well be talking about, mom or grandma's Sunday meatballs.
Okay.
Right. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Most of our moms and grandmas were not that good cooks. Right? They may be good. They're not as good as we remember.
Yeah, you try to get me hurt, man, as a black man in America. I'm not never talking about my mama cooking, but go ahead.
Look at me. You know I got a grandma. Yeah. But no, but what I mean by that is, and that's why I say they're not as good as we remember.
Okay.
Because what do you remember? When you go to those Sunday dinners, it's not the meatballs. It's not whatever your family's meal is.
Yeah.
It's family, the friends, the social, right?
Absolutely.
It's that memory, that camaraderie. So, well, as we started here, that's what the cigar is about.
Exactly.
The cigar is the conduit that brings us together.
Yes.
So I started saying to all my friends in the industry, I said, we've done an amazing job. I mean, no other industry, and as small as us, to beat the FDA.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But for us to continue to survive and grow and proliferate as a community, we got to get out to all those people that don't know a cigar or intimidated, right?
Agreed.
And understand, what this community is about.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a cast of characters. It's a beautiful man like yourself from Las Vegas, and
thank you.
A bald man like me from New York.
Right.
And we don't care what you do, where you come from, what school you went to, how much money you make, right? It's come in, be a good person.
Yes.
Man, woman, Martian.
Exactly.
Sit down, smoke a cigar, and we all have a great time, right?
I agree.
It's what everybody in this freaking country
needs right now.
Yelling at each other, right? and everybody wants,
right?
And we have.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I try to look at these things, and we came up with it, and a couple of guys that, my partners that work on all these projects with me, the Dapper Dog SSL and Photo-esque SSL. You're getting theme, SSL. We came up with this idea about a year ago of let's create our own story.
Yeah.
And some of us were sitting around and we were thinking, it's kind of like how, Lord of the Rings came about, was people don't realize Tolkien set out, he wanted to create like the Greek myths for the British people.
Okay.
And that was his idea, was I want to create a mythology. I want to create, and now look where it goes.
Yeah,
right? Look what
now.
Star Wars done.
Exactly.
So we thought, why don't we do something similar with the cigar industry?
Yeah.
So if you go on, and right now we're broadcasting over each of our Instagram pages.
Okay.
Again, at the Baldman SSL or one of the others. And
tell them what the SSL is so that they know.
So the SSL stands for Style, Sophistication, Life.
Life. I thought it was luxury. Okay, style, sophistication, life. I like it.
And the thing is, because in that way, to me, style and sophistication is not luxury.
Gotcha.
Luxury to me implies expensive, and it's about how much you pay for it.
Got you. Okay.
And to me, value in things, just like we just said, right?
Yes.
Those memories, the friends, us sitting here.
Yeah.
It's not about something we buy. It's not material. It's about the life.
There you go.
So that's where it came from. And early on when I started, I think somebody, I had written something and I didn't have enough room on a post. So I was just like, that is definitely stamped with, SSL.
Yeah.
And people started writing me back with SSL.
I love it.
So I just kind of picked it up.
Yeah.
And we came up with this idea of, why don't we create something fun?
Yeah.
Let's create our own story, our own adventure.
Love it.
And we launched it on Easter last year, and it's very funny. If you go and I've got a RingQuest little button you can click and see the whole story from the beginning.
Nice.
The idea was, and I partnered up with Vince on a little bit, that, the bald man was having his Easter egg hunt, and we did, and it was an Easter egg and ring hunt, and something happened. Maybe they were stolen, maybe they weren't. We're not sure, but the rings disappeared.
Got you.
So I had to go out to my friends, and I recruited my friends, the owl and the Z and the dog. And so far now, for about 10 months, we've been on an adventure across the cigar world.
Yes.
And we're trying to find the rings.
Exactly.
And we've been lucky that on the 15th of every month, which is the Ides of Vicente,
yes.
The Vicente cloud told us that, friends will be found and secrets will be revealed. And for those that follow us and are now tuning in on the 15th every month is a surprise friend in the industry.
I love it.
And so far we've had this month right now, the giveaway is, depending when you air, so we're in January, so it'll be tomorrow on the 1st. We'll be wrapping up J.C. Newman.
Okay.
And we did our own big holiday giveaway for all the guys that participated last year for the holidays.
Love it.
We did Arturo Fuente. VB did a month. EP Carrillo, Art Dufamar, Adventura, Blackbird, the Clowns, Crown Heads. I don't want to forget anybody so far.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, the ring quest will continue.
Love it.
Because I was walking through the hall, and again, won't tell you got to tune in on the 15th, but I can say we already have friends that will be found through the entire year of 2025. I can officially say already. The ring quest will be going for at least another year.
Yes.
And each month we've got some great big names in the industry, and they're giving away great prizes. I mean, every month it's a whole box of some of their best cigars, lighters, cutters, ashtrays, hundreds of dollars of value for the grand prizes. And it's easy. All you got to do is like us, like whoever's doing it.
Yeah.
Your name goes in the entry, and we pick a winner. We don't pick and choose.
Yeah, it is.
And it's great. I mean, people are loving it. They're having a great time. I laugh. I know I'm going to get off the plane tomorrow morning. Before I even get home, I'm going to get pinged by people like, "It's the first. Hasn't somebody won?" It's like the first hasn't ended yet.
Right. Yeah.
So we're having a blast with it. Like we said, we're going through and we tell people. I won't tell you if they're coming this year, but if there's a cigar company that you'd like to see or you want to see, I think everybody out there, you can figure out, you can tell. I'm afraid of nothing. If there's somebody out there, I'll pick up the phone and call them like, your fans want it. Do the ring quest.
Do the ring quest.
And we'll get them. And so far I can't complain either, because I'll say honestly, we get a lot of folks that call us and say we want to do it.
Sure.
I've had not one person that I've reached out to in the industry, whether they're friends that I personally know or guys that I know of but aren't good friends, and said, "Hey, how'd you like to do this?" And they take a look and they're like, "Absolutely, we're in."
I love it, man. I love it.
The only one, and it's going to be my campaign, and I'm going to bust his balls until PCA. So I'm going to say it is Steve Saka. I've met Steve a few times. We're not personal friends yet. Everybody I know and all my friends know him well. And we just cross paths, so we'll get together. But I pinged Steve and his guys once or twice. And I'm sure they're busy. I haven't heard back from them yet. So as I always say, I said, "Steve, some guys on a show a few months ago challenged me and said, got to tell Steve to do the show." So Steve, I'm going to ask you on every show I do, and everybody asks me about RingQuest until we get you. The fans want
Steve.
Saka. Come on, guys, let's take a look at it. Let's put the Saka Squatch with the bald man. We could have fun.
Saka Squatch, I love it. That's awesome, man. I love it. Yes,
come on, we'll have the bald man refereeing a knockdown cage match between the Dapper Dog and Saka Squatch.
Saka Squatch. That's
UFC
what's happening, bro.
Can't pull that off.
Yep, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, man, listen, we covered a lot. I love everything that's going on, man. Maybe, who knows where those rings will be found? By the way, you know what I'm saying? They may be found in, in the Puff a Minute cave or something like that. Who knows, man? I'm just playing right now, trying to toss us in here. I'm trying to figure out how I get into this.
I'll say, listen, we're ending January.
Yes.
PCA's coming up by April.
There you go. Exactly.
Tune in or don't, but you might miss out on a lot of good stuff.
I love it.
We got a lot of good stuff coming in the next few months.
It's gonna be awesome,
A lot
man.
of big names, a lot of great friends. Who knows? Puff a Minute might be involved. Come PCA if they're coming to New Orleans.
You heard it here.
Pressure on the.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
We'll see. Maybe they'll be broadcasting live from the VB booth. VB's going to be there.
I love
We're
it.
going to have an island booth. I don't have the exact number, but it's an island. It's right in the middle, right across from the food courts.
Really?
So you won't be able to miss it.
Prime location.
In terms of doing it, come visit us, and maybe these guys will be broadcasting live from our thing.
There it is, guys. Make sure you gotta follow. You gotta follow. So again, at that, make sure you're following the Ball Guy SSL, right, on Instagram, give me your social media, man. Tell me how to follow you.
It's the Baldman _SSL.
Okay.
And then you got the Dapper Dog. I think there's underscores between each one. SSL.
Yep.
And Photoesque SSL.
Yes.
As well. So you can go to all of those and follow RingQuest.
Yes.
Obviously, we got Vicente Blends on Instagram. That's just at Vicente Blends.
Okay.
And you can also read more about VB and what we're doing.
Yes.
On the website.
Okay.
And we'll be making some more announcements. I'll let people know. I'll give you a little inside thing, which is we debuted, as I said, the Sleeks.
Yes.
That's our newest line.
Okay.
With some of our partners as a holiday limited.
Okay.
Interestingly, again, like these, it's 3 distinct cigars.
Mm-hmm.
They're we call them Sleeks, just like we call these the collection. Vince hates generic names.
Sure.
But they're, if I describe them, I'd say they're kind of like slightly shorter Churchills.
Okay.
Again, those are going to be a little bit lower price point.
Yes.
You got cool bands, not rings.
Okay.
Kind of vinyl bands that nobody else has in the industry.
Right. Right.
And the interesting thing there is, for those that know, everybody loves San Andre.
Yeah.
It's a very hard tobacco to work with.
Sure.
It doesn't look very pretty.
Okay. Yeah.
And, if you don't work it right, it can be very strong, very peppery, and overpower. So it was kind of a challenge for us last year. People
Right.
said, well, but can you have that draw, in a thinner ring gauge cigar?
Right.
And what can you do with San Andre?
Got you.
So, challenge accepted. I will say this. We did it in a 48-inch ring gauge.
Is that right? Okay.
I mean, I won't say it is absolute, but it's there.
Nice.
And the San Andre people love. Again, the blends, 3 distinct blends. We call them white, black, and gold.
Okay.
They're blended with you'll never think of.
Okay.
And the initial feedback we're getting, with different people's palates, and like San Andre, some of them are going crazier over them than the collection. So the exclusive drop for you is those will be available full retail to all our retailers or any new retailers across the country at PCA.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So we'll be debuting that.
Well, Michael, I want to tell you, man, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, sitting here and talking to you, right? Learning about all of the creativity that went into the VBs, and also everything else that you're doing, man. You got to be one of the most creative guys in the industry. I got to tell you, man. I'm a little jealous right now. I was like, why did I come up with that ring quest? That's awesome. You're doing exciting things, man. We definitely want to stay in touch with you. We want to continue to follow. And again, I want to say, you were telling me earlier, like years ago when you guys were first beta testing this, right? Tapper Nash was one of the first 5 lounges in the country, right? That, stepped up to the challenge, right? And that you guys came to. And so the relationship with Tapper Nash is solid. Their relationship with the Puff a Minute is solid. So we're going to be seeing each other around a lot, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. We started on it kind of quick. And as I said, when Vince started this, it was a personal project.
Yeah.
And he had kind of set up a web thing. He was sending it back to his friends and things in the States. And he started getting, some friends that were retailers that said, hey, come on, let us sell these.
Yeah.
And he and I were talking, and he said, I don't know if I want to just do this. And, we came around later to the idea of, doing it in friends. So we thought, let's test it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we do. It's the kind of businesses we're in. We're like, why not with cigars? Same thing as doing this. And absolutely, Melvin was one of the first guys. He was one of the first 5, as I call it, that we tested in throughout 2023. I wasn't involved with the company. I was I was a friend advising Vince, and I loved the cigars. And just about a year ago now, he came back to me and goes, people are coming to me and asking me to do this. I
love it.
I think we got something. Guys want it. People like Melvin came back. They're like, people are loving this cigar.
Sure.
And he said, I'm going to do this, but 1, I don't want to do a company on my own.
Sure.
And 2, this is my passion, like all of us.
Yeah.
So he goes, so if I'm going to turn my passion into a business, he's like, I want to do it with my friends.
I love it. Yeah.
So he asked me, and I said, would agree to be chairman and work with him on it. And we brought in a number of other partners. So we got about 8, 9 partners now.
Okay.
That are involved, and we did it, and a lot of that came out of Melvin testing it, and we launched it. And
I love it.
We're nationwide. We're very selective where we're going, hoping to do more. And certainly anybody out there that's watching, if you want it in your area, tell your retailers, have them reach out to us, come see us at PCA, and if you give me 2 more seconds, I'm going to do something I know you're going to appreciate.
Okay.
Can you follow me with that camera for a second? All right.
Where we headed?
Melvin, I'm about to interrupt you and embarrass you. So, for anybody that doesn't know, this is Melvin. So, he's the owner and proprietor of Tap and Ash. They're about to double the size of this place and add a whole new private lounge. It is, in my mind, the coolest place in Vegas if you want to smoke a cigar. If you haven't been here, get here. And again, Melvin, you missed it. We told everybody you were one of the original 5 that helped VB decide to go live. And thank you very much, my friend. All right, sorry,
Very cool.
but I
No,
felt
very
that
cool.
just needed to be done.
I agree, brother. I agree 100%. That's awesome.
We can't talk the love and not actually show the appreciation.
Exactly right, man.
There you go.
Michael, it's been outstanding sitting here talking with you a little bit, man.
My
We
pleasure.
could probably go all night, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to cut it right here.
We can only go about another 2-3 hours because I do have to catch the red eye
We
back
might
to the
do
East
that
Coast,
off camera.
but we can push it.
Yeah, there
if
you
you'd
go.
Like. But if not, you know what, my man? We'll continue in PCA.
Please, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
My pleasure. Thank you
Once
so
again,
much.
guys, this has been another Cigars and Conversations with a puff a minute. It's your man, Cigar Mick. Go find those Vicente Blends out there, man, and make sure you follow the ball guy _SSL on Instagram and social media and everything else that he told you today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put those scrolls up each way so that you can go and just so you know where to follow everything that we talked about today. All right. So remember, guys, at a puff a minute, we are not just blowing smoke. Stay with us, and we'll be back with some more content as soon as we can. Peace. We love you, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody. Be well.
Every laugh, every tear in this hallowed hall. A puff a minute, conversing with the best legends and rising stars. Put your heart to the test. Exploring the journeys from where they began to when and now stand a testament to man. Sit back, relax, let the stories ignite. A sanctuary of wisdom where dreams take flight. In the glow of embers, let your spirit soar. With every puff, we're craving more. A cultural haven where the cigars burn slow.